welcome to Divine Decode, where we peel back the veil and explore the sacred truths that shape our lives. I'm Pragya Malviya, your host, and tonight we are diving into some seriously cosmic waters with Blair, author, mystic, and creator of higher consciousness meditation. Blair's story is incredible. He's turned workplace trauma into transformation and everyday reflections into spiritual revelations. And what I love most, his approach makes mysticism feel accessible, like something you can weave into your coffee break or your commute. So, if you've ever craved a deeper sense of soul contact or wondered how mindfulness can actually feel manifestation, stick around because this conversation might just change the way you meditate forever. Thank you for doing this, Blair. It's an honor for you to have here.
Thank you, Pragya. I've been looking forward to our conversation.
Blair, you call yourself an ordinary mystic, and I love that phrase. I love that. But what does that actually mean in a world that's overflowing with spiritual noise and trends?
Oh, sure. I mean, there are lots of spiritual um, trends and lots of noise and lots of people talking about spirituality, which I think is a good thing. Um, our world needs to be uplifted. Uh, we certainly are having some uh, difficulties and greater difficulties coming down the road. So um, um, I encourage every ounce of upliftment.
That's great. That's such a great definition. Also, and if someone listening thinks that mysticism, it sounds cool but unrealistic for my busy life, how do they begin to touch that sense of wonder without disconnecting from reality?
I think of mysticism and being a mystic really is quite simple, not anything that's um, unusual in that mysticism is and being a mystic is about seeking and finding spiritual truth, whatever that truth happens to be for you. Um, my form of mysticism is really based on fundamentally the idea that you, me, we all are eternal beings in addition to being um, uh, human beings. And that in a way, we're spiritual beings inside of these biomechanical vehicles that we drive around um, and interact with the world. And um, uh, and we kind of think we are the vehicle and the biocomputer on the vehicle, the mind, um, because a lot of us really haven't been exposed to much in the way of the alternative idea that we are in fact eternal beings, um, and that one of the reasons for being on planet Earth is to discover that. Unfortunately, a lot of us are not exposed to that idea. Instead, we're exposed to the idea that we're human beings, that we have to scratch out a living here on planet Earth, that it's a difficult place, and it is a difficult place, this three-dimensional reality that we have in these bodies that we occupy. Um, um, and a lot, I mean, our teachers don't know, our spiritual leaders often don't know. Um, and so we're not exposed to the kind of ideas, concepts, and experience that mysticism offers. So I encourage everybody to find some spiritual path that works for them so that they can evolve not only as human beings, but all evolve as spiritual beings as well.
I love that. You're making mysticism sound so practical, not this faraway thing. And it's like, it's really like saying that yes, you can have a mystical moment while even folding laundry. It's so refreshing that you make it sound so practical. Also, your method, higher consciousness meditation, sounds intriguing. What makes it different from the traditional techniques most of us know? And also, did it come to you through a big aha moment, or was it something that evolved slowly from years of experimenting?
Um, so, um, higher consciousness meditation is different in that its purpose is an experience of illumination. Now, the purpose of many meditation techniques is mind training, um, training your mind to be quiet, to slow down. And that's a valuable thing to experience. Um, but the mind doesn't really want to be trained. It doesn't want to give up its mm, center of our individual universe. It wants to chatter, chatter, chatter. It wants to speculate about the future. It wants to revisit the past. And it doesn't want to be in the moment or in the now, the eternal now, if you will. Um, so the the higher consciousness meditation really came as a result of a deep dive into my meditation practice and some awakening, if you will, an awakening that I had about 8 or 9 years ago. Um, I had been doing yoga for, gosh, since 1972, almost 45 years. Um, but it was really as a result of traumatic, unjust firing from my high level position at work that I took a deep dive into my meditation practice for therapy. And I started journaling in the evening and just, trying to sort out all the issues that I was facing with and the feelings and the thoughts and the concerns that I had. And um, also the booze to my ego. Um, and in the process, I began to have an experience of, um, like I said, an experience of awakening or illumination. And what I realized after a while was that I was making soul contact, that that higher consciousness part of myself, which we all have, was beginning to communicate to me through the writing that I was doing and the words that were appearing on the computer screen. And after about 150,000 words or so of journaling, I realized that I had material for some books. And that was the genesis of my um, author career. I never intended to be an author, um, but that was the genesis of that. And it was the inspiration, inspiration first and foremost for myself, and then the development of higher consciousness meditation process. Um, it's a little more complicated than we have time to go into today, but it's thoroughly described and available in my book, the meditation book. Uh, um, but again, its purpose is awakening. Its purpose is illumination. And for that reason, it's a little different than traditional meditation practices.
Yeah, I heard you, and that makes so much sense. The way you described it. Also, you said this one phrase, soul contact. That phrase, it really gives me chills. And for someone who's never felt it, how would they know if it's happening, and what are the signs of the soul contact?
Well, you'll know. It's unmistakable. That chill, I think, that you just felt, um, perhaps was a little bit of a stirring of that part of yourself that really wants to be recognized. Um, we all have a higher consciousness. We all have a soul. But and meditation, from my perspective, is the most direct and powerful path to becoming aware of, making contact with, and allowing that part of ourself to start to flow into our lives. Um, in a way, it requires an invitation. It requires an interest, a curiosity. It requires perhaps developing or seeking out some tools like higher consciousness meditation process in order to have that occur. But if what I'm saying is making sense to anybody out there who is listening, um, it perhaps is time to explore. Um, there are many spiritual paths that one can go down, and everybody has to find their own. Um, but the benefit, among others, is to contact that part of ourselves that is just has been waiting, maybe for lifetimes, for us to wake up a bit, to recognize it, um, to explore it, and to uh, uh, develop really a relationship with that part of yourself, almost as if best friend appears in your life and is available to you at any moment and is ready to flow into your life at any time you make offer the invitation and you take some time to explore it.
That's such a comforting idea, and that the soul, it never stops speaking, and that's just so great. Also, you've said mindfulness can be a bridge to manifestation, and that really grabbed me. How does that actually work? Or is the magic more about aligning energy or finding mental clarity? Or do both need to dance together for manifestation to happen? How does that happen?
Um, well, I would separate the two um, subjects a little bit from each other and say that mindfulness is a meditation practice like sit down meditation, where you might sit on a cushion or sit in a chair and do a process um, like higher consciousness a meditation, sit down meditation that maybe take 5, 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes. Um, where instead mindfulness is more about um, using mindfulness practices in order to um, relax into the moment. Um, and mindfulness is simple as saying to yourself something like, peace, be still, which is really a quite powerful mindfulness mantra, if you will. Peace, be still is a way of just reminding yourself. Um, and I do this, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 times throughout the day, reminding yourself that, again, you're not just a human being, but you're a spiritual being, and acknowledging that spiritual being part of yourself. And the result often of a mindfulness practice, whatever that might happen to be, um, is an upliftment of your mind, of your spirit, of your consciousness in that moment. So, what I do um, is a sit down meditation in the morning, sit down meditation in the evening, and then during the day, um, some mindfulness practices. So, my book, uh, which is called the Mindfulness Book, has dozens, dozens of mindfulness phrases and practices that you can undertake throughout the day to keep yourself tuned up. And the two of them together go really well. Um, uh, Morning, afternoon, and evening, longer meditation practice, mindfulness practices during the day of some sort or another. Mindfulness can be as simple as just taking a deep breath, letting it out, and just saying to yourself, "I'm an eternal being." Um, Again, what you're doing is just reminding yourself of who you are. Now, manifestation um, is it's not it's somewhat different. I have a manifestation process, which is again described in detail in my book, the Manifestation Book. Um, and there are lots of manifestation ideas, um, systems, books out there about how to manifest for your life, how to create what you want in your life. And many of them, though, unfortunately, as a result of the investigation that I did over a number of years, are more ego based and quite honestly don't work very well. Um, they tend to be around, I want something, and trying to beg God for something, trying to um, do repetitious visualizations uh, of having a, I don't know, BMW, appear in your driveway tomorrow, um, uh, of um, trying to create something that you want that may or may not be good for you. It's if what you want is coming from your mind, it is likely is not to be ego based rather than spiritually based. So, um, my soul, my higher consciousness, um, as a result of some investigation and some meditation that I did on the subject, offered up an alternative method um, called the best possible outcome process. And the possible outcome process goes like this: I ask for the best possible outcome as it relates to a divine relationship that I would like, or transportation that I need. So instead of trying to create a BMW appearing in your driveway, instead, maybe what you need is a truck. Um, so if what you do is ask for the best possible outcome as it relates to my need for transportation, and then pausing and um, being open to a sense that your higher consciousness, your soul, has engaged with your request, and then offering a thank you for your soul participating in your life and in your um, needs for certain things as a human being. Now, that sounds real simple in a way, but it's quite powerful because it really turns over a request for something that you need and want to spirit, and um, allows spirit to move, to provide you with what you need and what it knows that you need. It's not necessarily what your mind thinks you need, but it may be what your soul knows you need. And that's what then begins to emerge as the manifestation for your request. So that's how manifestation works.
That makes so much sense. And yeah, thank you for defining us so clearly. It like defining it so clear to us. And yeah, I hope the listeners they do get through it. And you walked through some storms yourself, like that difficult job season that you've talked about.
Yeah.
How did meditation hold you steady when everything felt chaotic? And how did it help you to become more you and, bring you back to track or bring you back to the normal of yours?
Yes. Well, fortunately, that's one of the major benefits of meditation is that it becomes a touchstone for sanity. Um, it becomes a lifestyle if you allow it to, or if you explore it sufficiently, so that, um, as I mentioned, you turn to your meditation practices, perhaps in the morning, perhaps in the evening, perhaps both. You do mindfulness practices as a lifestyle. Um, you perhaps use um, the manifestation process that I mentioned as something that you do perhaps, uh, you know, a couple of times a day. Um, you can use the manifestation process for anything, creating a parking place, um, um, finding a fabulous relationship, um, um, a good job, um, the things that you need in your normal everyday human life. So I think the best possible outcome of this type of spiritual inquiry is discovering yourself, discovering your eternal beingness self, and um, what'll end up happening is that your vibratory rate, if you will, begins to rise and increase in vibratory frequency. And the beauty of increasing your vibratory frequency is that it attracts good things, people, and circumstances into your life, which is one of the major benefits of doing this sort of thing. Um, um, Under the principle of like attracts like. So uh, if you're in a dark place, the likelihood of attracting dark people, circumstances, and things to your life um, is likely to occur. If, on the other hand, what you do is rise up in your power and rise up in your frequency and rise up in um, your spiritual experience, the likelihood of good people, circumstances, things being attracted to you um, is one of the really wonderful outcomes of this type of lifestyle.
That's so powerful, and also it's such a great reminder. It's also thank you for sharing that with us. It was so brave of you to share, and yeah, that is such an insight. Blair, thank you for reminding us that the mystical, it isn't a mystery, it's a memory waiting for us to reclaim. And to our listeners, your stillness, it holds power, your thoughts, it carries shape, and your soul, it's never out of reach. Take a few moments today, sit, breathe, listen. You might be surprised by who answers back, and take insights from Blair. They were so powerful. They were so great. I'm Pragya Malvia, and this has been Divine Decode. Until next time, keep decoding, keep manifesting, and keep rising. Signing off.